All right, man. So Nas Reed, it said that if the Pistons want to poach Nas Reed away from the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's going to be at least 4 years, $100 million, and that's right around what Tobias Harris got. So, obviously, could they do a sign and trade? I feel like if Minnesota do a sign and trade, I don't think it's really beneficial for what they're trying to do. So that's my opinion. It's not beneficial for what they're trying to do. It'd have to be a sign and trade, a 3-team trade where probably Minnesota get some picks and get multiple players for that cap space, or it won't be Tobias Harris because, in my opinion, that may not make sense for them because if you don't bring back Julius Randle, then that makes sense to do a Tobias Harris Nas Reed swap. I think they will want another piece, something like Finicini off the bench or something like that. That's what they will want because think about it for a minute. If they don't bring back Randall, then yeah, that make a lot of sense. Because Randall is probably going to be looking to get a whole bunch of money. I think Nas Reed wants an opportunity to start. So I think a Nas Reed for a sign and trade for Nas Reed and Tobias Harris, that don't make sense if they bring back Julius Randle. But let me talk about that for a minute. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I don't think that makes sense. Right? I don't think that makes sense. So, you might be like, well, what does make sense, CJ? I think what actually makes sense. Let me see something real quick. Sorry, y'all. My bad. I think one thing that would make sense for them is probably getting multiple guys back for Nas Reed. If they sign for 25, getting a few guys under contract, a Sasser or Funicini, I don't know, whoever else, or just in general, just about 2 or 3 guys for that so they can fill out their bench and they can get some depth, I think, for Nas Reed. You know what I'm saying? So I think like a Tobias and Nas swap, that works for Minnesota because only if they don't bring back Julius Randle, right? So that's the question. I think, and also in that situation, do you try to sign and trade Nas Reed to Phoenix? The Nas Reed will want to go to Phoenix in the Kevin Durant deal. They interested in Kevin Durant. Um, Phoenix is really looking for like draft picks and stuff like that. So, would they rather do it that way? But then Nas Reed still got to sign off for going to Phoenix. So is Nas Reed on this Jeremy Grant where he just want to go somewhere and prove that he can score 20, 30 points a game? You know what I'm saying? Or he want to go somewhere and win? That's the question. If he want to go somewhere and win, then you probably thinking more Detroit or something like that. If he really just want to get his money, he don't care where he at, or he like, the weather in Phoenix, then, that may make a little bit more sense. He go team up with Booker and just try to show that he can be a second or third best player on a championship caliber, to which they wouldn't be, or on the team, whatever. Kind of what I'm saying. But that's the question. But a Nas for Tobias swap doesn't make sense if you bring back Randall. You know what I'm saying? You don't want 25 million coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Now maybe it makes sense if, Phoenix is more interested in Tobias than Nas. Then maybe you say we have Nas over to Detroit for Tobias and swap and send Tobias to Phoenix because Phoenix don't want to pay Nas 4 years, $25 million. We'd rather just take Tobias for the 1 year deal for 26. Then you're talking about a 3-team trade. But if you Detroit, if they land you Nas Reed and that's your guy, and you want to help Minnesota land Kevin Durant, so be it, as long as you happy in the deal. So yeah, that one don't make sense. But right now I think the Pistons have 19 million in cap. So they wouldn't have the money right now because Cade, got the all NBA team, so that jumped them up an extra 40-something million. They had 27 in mil, so they would have the money to get them, off that, but it'd have to be in sign and trade. So, but still, again, hey, guess what? That may work. I'm gonna tell you why that may work on the other side. I just thought about that. Because Tobias only got 1 year left, so they can use Tobias. Let's say they don't get Kevin Durant, they can go Tobias, Randall, Rudy, and Conley, and then they can just trade Tobias at the trade deadline or something like that. So that may work for them. That may work for them. That may work. So, but mm, I may work, but it'll be interesting. Be interesting, but that's what it take to get Nas Reed. That's what you paying. That's what you paying Tobias now. So, do you feel like Nas is that much of an upgrade over Tobias? Do you look to say, like I was saying in my Laurie marketing video, you look just to make a deal for Laurie marketing? You play Laurie marketing and Jalen Dern? Is Jalen Dern in the works? Do you just, trade for Laurie marketing, put him at the 5, and then, trade Jalen Dern and try to get a 4 for him? That's a great question. Now, yeah, I get a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions going with this roster, which they could just do so much with this roster, you know. But one thing I think about going to get Laurie marketing, do you really get that presence at the rim? I believe in Utah, he played a 4. Yeah, he can do some things off the dribble, but I don't see him being that defender that I don't really see him being that defender that I don't really see him being that defender that I don't really see him being that defender that Tobias is. I think, like I said, I continue to harp home. Tobias Harris is no, Tobias Harris is the like I think he really the catalyst for their defensive turnaround. So I think he the catalyst for they just struggled so hard the year before last guarding that 4 position. So, but if you get marketing, I mean, you get a more consistent shooter. You get that switch on marketing. I believe you get that switch on marketing on Jalen Brunson. I think that's 30, 40 points easy for marketing. Now, I will say something that Benjamin Foe is going to say. I guarantee you he going to say this. If you watch this video, I might have started doing lives. But again, I guarantee you he going to say this. I promise you. Go get Walker Kessler. And Walker Kessler is doing a tremendous job statistically from what I see defending the rim. So, but yeah, man, I mean, shit, that's the question, you know. But if you get a guy like Laurie marketing, boy, you better make the jump to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. And if that's the main move you gonna make, then really you going all in on Jaden Ivey to make that jump. And he made a jump last year. He was jumping. So I'm not mad at him. I'm a Laurie marketing fan. I like the way he play. So kind of remind you of Mirror Titch on steroids. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the Detroit Pistons Talk playlist, hit the link tree. You can find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Amazon, Kick, Twitch, or wherever I'm produced at. It's inside the link tree. First link in the description. Peace.